All right, we're getting ready to fly the eSky Eagle once again. You see we have it sitting out on the runway here. Everything's powered up. Got our GPS lock. We're ready to go. Switch the OSD on. Take a look at that. We have 10 satellites. HCOP is at 2.1, which is not great, but it's good enough. Should allow me to arm. So we'll go ahead and do that now.
Engines armed.
So we are armed. And I'm going to taxi out to this end of the runway because we do have a little bit of wind coming kind of from the tail right now. So don't need to go terribly far out here, and it is kind of rough anyway. So we're just going to kind of taxi out here and slow down a little bit. Point the airplane back this way, and we're ready to go. So the plan for the flight today is nothing too special. I just kind of want to take an opportunity to fly while I have a chance. And we're trying out 2 DVRs. I don't expect them to be very good based on what I've seen, just kind of playing around with them in the shop. But nonetheless, I'll put some clips from those up later to compare to my PC setup that you're looking at right now that we record with. I'm also flying with Edge TX on a radio, which is first time I'm using it. I noticed my RSSI is somewhat low. It's in 70s. Let me just take a look real quick in my settings. I'm going to drop the power to 10 milliwatts. And yeah, power does drop, or the RSSI rather. If I bump it back up to 1 watt auto, RSSI does come back up. So I guess it's working right. I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out. Hopefully everything's good. I guess, like I said, we'll find out. But yeah, so enough rambling on. Let me go ahead and get the airplane in the air. I'm going to take off in angle mode. And once we get in the air, we'll probably switch to cruise. And of course, we'll check fail-safe, stuff like that. Check my controls real quick. Everything looks good there. Everything looks good there. Can't really see the elevator shadow to know if it's working, but I assume it is. I know my rudder is working because I taxied out here with it, at least the nose wheel, and they're hooked to the same servo. So we're going to take a chance that the elevator's good, and we're going to get in the air now. So let's power up and get moving.
Battery critical.
And we're off, and we do have elevator control, as expected. See, I kind of feel that wind pushing me a little bit now. I'm going to go ahead and gain a little bit of altitude. I'm going to climb up to about 100 feet or so. And then we're going to switch to cruise. And just kind of fly the airplane and enjoy it. So on the last flight, this brown area at the back of this field is where I was talking about I wanted to come out and see if I could maybe shoot a landing out here. And I had actually thought they planted the entire field, but they didn't. And it's crazy, from the air, it looks like it's planted. It looks like there's rows in it and it's rough and everything. But after that flight, I rode out here and I looked at that and it was definitely not planted. And even right now, if you ask me, I would say that yes, this is definitely planted. It looks like a planter's been run through it. But it's not. I just have to watch. There's a couple of drainage ditches cut crossways, like there's one right there. Obvious. It's kind of easy to see with the sun hitting it. And if I remember right, there's one right ahead, right here, which you can see there. And then everything up ahead was all smooth, as well as I see some animal tracks down there. But if we fly back to the other end, we should have a good clearing. So yeah, that ditch right off the nose right now, between there. Now there's one at the back edge back here, but it should be fine if I stay out here in front of it. And there looks like there may be actually one right there too, but I don't think that one was too rough. And the one up ahead right here is pretty rough. So I don't want to hit either one of those, but as long as I can time my landing right, I might accidentally try to shoot a landing out here, a little touch and go, and see how it works out. But we'll probably save that for later in the flight. I don't know, it still looks planted. Like I said, it's been, I don't know, a week and a half since I've been out there. They might have actually came back and planted it since then. But even if they did, there's nothing growing. You can see everything they planted out in the field that way is already sprouted and growing good. I think it's actually corn, which kind of sprouts and grows pretty quick. which explains why it's as tall as it is now since my last flight. That and the fact that I've unfortunately not been able to fly much lately. It's been, what, 3 weeks, I think, since my last video. They're about close to it. So just out of curiosity, let's say if I hit failsafe right now and I go to return to launch.
Return to launch. Return to launch.
I just want to see the airplane should climb and make its way back toward the house. So you can see it actually circled until it got close to the altitude that it was shooting for, and then it aimed home. So yeah, I think that's going to work out perfectly fine. Just in a worst case scenario, if I shoot a touch and go out here and then end up losing my radio signal because I'm too low to the ground out there, then the autopilot should just power up and pitch the nose up and fly me home. So in fact, I want to go back to, I'm going to go to angle mode. So I'm going to cut power so that I can lose some altitude. I'm just kind of pushing the nose down right now, forcing it to lose some altitude, and I'm kind of watching my airspeed so I don't get too fast, which we're fine. I just want to see, okay, if I'm flying ankle mode like this, and then I cut power, and then I trigger return to launch, is it going to power up and fly and steer without a problem?
Return to launch.
Yep. Which everything is working perfectly fine as I would expect it to. And you can see now, because we started at a lower altitude, it's going to keep climbing in a circle until it gets close to around 250, I think, or maybe 300. I forgot where it triggers that, where it changes its heading back to home. So it's a little over 250. Once it gets to that altitude, then it'll change the heading and fly back home. So we should be good to go. So I'm going to go back to cruise, push the nose down, start losing some altitude, and maybe shoot a touch and go. And I do apologize if you hear the noise in the background right now. I'm not sure if it's going to come through on my microphone, but if it does, it's because one of the fans in my recording PC that I'm using to record the video with is dying, and sounds like the bushing went out in it, bearing. And of course it's in the power supply, and it's some odd size that I don't have a spare for, so I couldn't just easily swap it out. So I'm going to have to order a new power supply, I guess. I may open it up and see. I think it's a 140 millimeter fan in that power supply. Just leave it to Corsair to use some oddball size that I don't have spares of. So I'm either going to fix that one or replace the fan in it, or replace the whole power supply. One of the two, but if you hear it coming through right now, that's why. It's making a loud roaring noise that I can hear, but hopefully the noise canceling that I have set up in OBS is going to take care of that. Probably will. But yeah, there's the cows down below. So I'm actually going to set up a touch and go, and like I said, with the sun hitting this time of day, I'm going to go to angle mode so I can have control over my power, start bleeding off some altitude. And I'm just kind of watching my RSSI. I'm going to actually configure myself for a better signal. Kind of raising the radio over my head right now just to make sure I have a better chance of keeping a good signal. But yeah, I just want to time it where I can miss that drainage ditch, which is just ahead there. So yeah, I just need to start pushing the nose down, losing some altitude. So there's that ditch. We're clear of it, no problem. Gonna kind of level off, and I'm starting to lose video, but not too bad. Start a flare, and yeah, the video's gone. I'm just gonna power up and climb out of it.
Telemetry lost. RF signal critical. Telemetry recovered.
And we did lose signal there for just a minute. As you might have heard the announcements on the radio, sometimes my microphone doesn't pick them up. But yeah, we had a nice little touch and go and lost video, and signal got pretty critical there for a moment, but we just kind of flew out of it. So there's our answer. Can we land out here? Yes, we can, but the video and the radio link barely hold through. But we did it. So that's one more thing I can check off my list that I had been wanting to do. So I'm just going to go back to cruise mode and just kind of fly the airplane around maybe and enjoy it. So like I said, I do really like this little airplane quite a lot. I think I'm going to just kind of make a round around the back of this field here, and then I'm going to head back towards the front of the field. They were actually cutting some hay out there earlier. There was a tractor running around. Might fly out that way, see if I can go make a pass by where they're working. Just kind of fly out this way, and I kind of do feel that wind. It's a wind from the north, which is kind of pushing me. It's kind of a side wind, crosswind, pushing me from the side the way I was flying just now. But it's strange because when I take off and land, the wind's actually coming east to west. And you can see the airplane's kind of getting bumped around right now. We're flying right along the edge of this tree line right here. You can see the kind of taller trees right here. The wind does get pretty turbulent out here when it's come from the north, and that's because it comes over that flood levee that's at the tree line out off that wingtip that way. And it always rolls over the tree line and ends up swirling around out here and gets kind of unpredictable, especially up close to the house when I land right there. But it's only about a 5-mile-an-hour wind, so we should be fine. Well, obviously it wasn't a problem taking off. It shouldn't be a problem landing either. But yeah, I have those two DVRs recording in the background, and I will have a link to those below the video. They are going to be affiliate links because I ordered those from Amazon, and I do have the Amazon Associates account where I get a little kickback if I refer a sale. Doesn't cost you any extra, but kind of the same thing as the Banggood links always were, where you doesn't cost you any. They just give me a percentage of the sale for referring it. But I ordered those just to try out because, I mean, yeah, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you probably know that I have almost what you could call an obsession with finding a good quality DVR. And I'm still recording with the PC and OBS and everything right now because to this day I've yet to find anything that gives me a better quality and much easier to edit and everything, doing my live narration and all that good stuff, especially when I'm using like the telemetry stuff at Orduplane too. I can have all that in real time and switch scenes and stuff like that as I see fit. But mainly I do it for the quality. But yeah, there's that hay cutting machine out there. It's not really a tractor. It's got like a big mower on the front, and it rolls all the hay out to one side, ready to be baled. Yeah, they've been working all afternoon. Or actually, it rolls the grass out the center, not one side, but it kind of puts it in rows for the baler to come back behind it and bale it all up. So we'll fly out this way and we'll check out the smoke coming off of this fire, and you can actually see the direction of the wind now. It's a nice wind indicator. You can see how it's kind of a north to south wind, and once it gets in the air, it'll start kind of rolling around, changing directions and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not sure actually what they were burning down there, but had a little trash fire or something going on, and you can see the smoke. Yeah, it's definitely got an east to west kind of motion to the smoke there direction. But all the weather and everything forecasts are indicating on north to south wind. And I feel that north to south direction in the wind up here. Every now and then it'll start pushing me sideways a little bit. You see right now it's almost straight east to west. It's like the wind keeps shifting directions out here for some reason. But yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and fly back home and land maybe, just so that the video doesn't end up being incredibly long, because I do like to upload these with as little editing as possible, mainly just so that you get the whole uncut flight, and it's just better representation of what I see when I'm flying, pretty much. And a lot of people that watch my channel apparently do like that. A few times I've asked on polls and things like that, they, for the majority of the people viewing anyway, tend to prefer the long and uncut flights. So that's what I do. I just try to keep them manageable for the most part, especially when flying a low airplane like this, where it's not gonna really fly super long range and stuff like that. Which, I mean, it's capable of it, but I just kind of like cruising around, having fun with it. But with those two DVRs running in the background, I'll at some point, it's probably already happened by now, I'll put those up. You see I'm kind of switching signals right now, kind of bouncing between my two antennas because I have one pointed out this direction so that I can set up my west to east landing, which will be more into the headwind. Let me go ahead and switch back to angle mode, cut my power a little bit, start losing some altitude. But yeah, I'll take a look at those DVRs and see how they look, and anything worth noting that I see as far as quality and strong points and weak points and stuff like that. I'll put that up on the screen. Or I guess if it's exciting enough, I'll do a separate video, but I doubt it. It's probably all going to be included in this one. You'll probably have already seen it by now. Yeah, I guess that's my monthly video, which seems to be about the best I can muster up right now. Oh, and speaking of the new runway, the grass has actually come back in enough to cut it. I actually mowed it earlier today. It's still a little dusty and dry out there, but the grass is starting to come back in pretty good, as you can see here. Try to get a nice smooth flare, and there we go. I'll accept that. So we'll go ahead and power up and taxi back, and I'll take the time to thank you for watching the videos, or this video, and any other ones that you might have watched. Feel free to watch them all. Please do. But yeah, I'd like to thank everyone watching the video and anyone leaving comments or likes or dislikes or anything like that. Any kind of interactions with the videos always help. And of course, a huge thank you to my channel members and Patreon pledges and pretty much everybody that makes this happen. So thank you for watching the video. Questions, comments, put them below it. I'll try to answer them when I can. And hopefully it's been interesting. And I will see you all in the next ones. Thank you for watching.